cadence? What is that tempo? What is that beat? What is that flow that or pattern or rhythm in your life that is keeping you motivated to do what it is that you need to do?
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Well, hello, professionals. Let me welcome you to our boardroom. In this room, we like to talk about problems in the business world from a practical standpoint. My name is Dr. Burks, and I am one part of Be Professional Consultancy, and I am an unconventional HR practitioner and enthusiast.
And I'm Dr. Ellison, also one part of Be Professional Consultancy. I'm a veteran and expert in leadership and professional development.
Combined, we have over 3 decades of experience, and we enjoy helping you improve performance from the janitor to the C-suite.
Dr. Burks and I have had some traumatic experiences because of workplace unprofessionalism, executive disengagement, and lack of accountability. We hope to leverage our experiences so that you can get better results in your workplace. The topic we'll discuss today is motivation, and that's one we can't wait to have with you. Today, we'll talk about what motivation is and how you can get you some. How does this impact you in the workplace or perhaps your personal life? What responsibility you need to take in motivating yourself or others? And hopefully, we'll leave you with some things that you can do. Now, note, we are not psychologists, and there is so much more to the topic of motivation. What we do today is we'll paint some broad strokes to help you level up. See a mental health professional or your church leadership to help you navigate where life may have you stuck. Now, we're all motivated to act out of hunger, desperation, wanting acceptance, likes, money, fame, or some of us simply just to help others. What's motivating you to do or not do? And what should you be doing in this life? Both the Wall Street Journal and Forbes reported this month that Harvard MBAs and other elite business school graduates are having a hard time finding jobs. And this is not a new topic for us. But why is that? That degree or university name is not enough to open doors anymore. Part of the issue is that the market and how it's changing post pandemic. Just take a look at the world around us. The landscape of the workplace is changing. The most relevant part of this discussion for me and that article was the transferable skills like problem solving, soft skills, lifelong learning, and offline professional networks. And this one was key, redefining what success looks like. This challenge is not specific only to recent graduates, but about all of us that work. We live in a day I never thought that I would see where people are paying to watch people stream while people are sleeping. People are literally watching other people sleep. Literally, as Dr. Eric Thomas has said, and I love amusement parks, we're watching other people ride the ride. No shade if that's how you like to spend your pay, but we're living in a day where it's people's business strategy to own your attention, all of your time. What do you want to do in this life besides watching other people? What is motivating you? Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 5 through 8 reads like this: I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as my prophet to the nation. O sovereign Lord, I said, I can't speak for you. I'm too young. The Lord replied, don't say I'm too young. You must go wherever I send you and say whatever I tell you. Acts chapter 2, verse 17 says, In the last days, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. What's the difference, and I'm asking you professionals, between sight and vision?
Mm.
We have physical sight, but do we have vision? And it is customary that Dr. Burks and I always start our discussion off by giving you a few definitions. The first one today is about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this explains the science behind human motivation. According to this American psychologist and author, Abraham Maslow, these needs are either conscious or unconscious. And as leaders, those of you who are leaders in the room must understand how they motivate behavior, which is critical for high performance. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with this psychologist's model, it's described as a triangle. The illustration is a triangle where the base of it is our physiological needs as motivation. And that's our food, shelter, water, getting rest. The next tier up is our safety needs, the need to feel secure and safety. The next level up on this pyramid is belongingness or our love needs. That's our intimate relationships, our friendships. This is what he labels our psychological needs. The next level up in this pyramid are our esteem needs. This is prestige and a feeling of accomplishment. And the top tier of this pyramid is self actualization, and that's achieving one's full potential, including our creative activities. And that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The next three definitions, the first one is extrinsic motivation. And that is the behaviors that are driven by external rewards or punishment. This affects individual work outcomes or job performance. So extrinsic motivation could be those of us that are motivated by money or rewards or punishment or something that drives us externally to be motivated. The next definition is intrinsic motivation, and this refers to behaviors or actions that occur with rewards that are different from getting a trophy. So, this is when we understand our work's ethical value and meaningfulness. We may feel more accomplished and intrinsically motivated. So, this leads people to serve in the most dangerous of situations, such as war and those civilians, as we are seeing in California, those firefighters and civilians that are working not from an extrinsic standpoint, but from an internal desire to save their community. So the reward, if there's any at all intrinsically, is it an internal one that causes you to put your life on the line for a friend or a neighbor. And then the last definition is cadence. And as a veteran, this is one of my favorite definitions, but it's definitely relevant as we talk about motivation. What is a cadence? A cadence is a tempo, a beat, a flow, or a pattern. And as we talk about motivation, what is that cadence? What is that tempo? What is that beat? What is that flow that or pattern or rhythm in your life that is keeping you motivated to do what it is that you need to do? Dr. Burks.
Well, first of all, I'm in awe. That was a whole lesson. I feel like I should have gotten my pen and paper to take notes. Professionals, I tell Dr. Ellison all of the time, we don't pre-rehearse our discussions. So as she is speaking, as I am speaking, we are hearing our topics for the very first time. So it shows how in sync we are because I have no clue what rabbit she will pull out of her hat. But if I could speak on the intrinsic motivation, I think if you've watched our content previously, or if you've just taken the time to look at our social media platforms, you see that our mission is intrinsic. We were very clear that we are operating within our gifts, God-given gifts, and carrying out his purpose. And so with that, regardless of the obstacles we've had to face, regardless of whatever, I don't want to say struggles, but just navigating this beast called the professional world, our love for what we do is what pushes us to keep going forward. And we are determined to make sure that while we work with people, we can pull out that intrinsic motivation that lies within as well. Now, if I may speak freely, I made a post on Monday on our Instagram, and I also used a pyramid diagram. And as I was making the post, um, the biggest thing that stood out to me was, where does motivation come from? And from what I've found personally, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Ellison can attest to this, is purpose. Be Professional was birthed from purpose. And now that we know our reason, then we know the requirements that we have to apply in terms of motivation to carry out our goal. Aside from motivation, you have the goal or the passion, and then next you have the interest, and then next you have you. On that post, I use arrows to connect them, and you have to go look at it. It's so much cuter than how I'm discussing it now. But anyway, I think it's just a good way to a physical or a tangible picture of what I'm discussing. But Dr. Ellison mentioned that it is a neuroscience issue or phenomenon. And so the University of North Carolina actually identified the difference between motivation, or define motivation as being effort, and then ability follows that. So to be motivated to carry out that motivation, you have to put in effort. So it's not the ability to do it, you have to make the effort to do it. So for example, Dr. Ellison and I are doctors. So we didn't become doctors without effort. So we were more than capable of doing it, but we had to combine that effort to carry it to fruition. So I know that was a mouthful. So Dr. Ellison, I am very interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's interesting just from a psychological perspective, how we're wired and how our external circumstances determine what we're motivated to do. And when I was a lot younger, I was motivated by hunger. And the way that I grew up, I was extrinsically motivated to do things. And I used to believe that if I got a certain relationship, or if I got a degree, or if I hit six figures, then that would mean that I had made it wherever it is. But when you aren't motivated to do the real work, the goal or the end zone, it keeps moving. And it wasn't until I got in my word and I was spiritually inspired um, through reading the Bible, as people would, I got into ministry later on in my life as I got saved. And I learned through reading the Bible that God knew me before I was even born, that before He created the foundation of the earth, He made me.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the things that used to extrinsically motivate me were no longer enough to satisfy, because when I hit the six figures, still not fulfilled. Or if the job gets taken from you, then now what is motivating you? Or when you attain the degree, then now what do you do? And if you're not paying attention to what is going on in the world around you right now, I mean, just take a look at the news and what's going on within social media. There are job freezes right now,
Mm-hmm.
and certain people's jobs are going to be taken from them. So if they were motivated by something, a desire that's outside of them, it's going to be a tough road, because the goalpost is always going to continue to change. You're always going to be dependent on somebody else or something else to keep you motivated. But yeah, I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Burks.
So I would have to concur what you mentioned. So I was a first gen college student, and if you've looked at our other videos, you know my testimony, or at least a little bit of my testimony. And so my drive with, I started with my associates and I went for my undergrad, then I went for my master's degree. And the difference is those were extrinsic motivated goals. Why was it extrinsic? It was because I was trying to prove a point, and I wanted people to see that regardless of the stumbling block that I had, that I still could do it, that I can still be successful. So I prided myself on the fact that, see, I did it. And all of these people had these things to say about me. And look at me, I'm still the first gen college student. I have a grad degree. Yes, I'm a wife. Yes, I'm a mom, and I did it. And so I remember having a conversation with my professor. And so I said, Doctor, I can't remember his name. And I just said, I'm interested in going to school for my my doctoral degree. And he said, I'm confident you will do well, but I think you should wait until your children are older. It's a very selfish degree. And it was like a light bulb for me. And that's when that extrinsic motivation became intrinsic. And though Dr. Ellison can also say it is a very, very time consuming and selfish degree, you do make sacrifices. And it is by far the most challenging program that I've ever gone through. But I was able to stand the test because it was a me thing. For the first time, I did this for me. I wasn't trying to prove anything. So though it is a terminal degree, so of course it has a level of notoriety, it's more personal for me because I did this, not with seeking a better job, not to just throw doctor in front of my name, but this is the first time that I really had the opportunity to just focus on Erica. And I think that was, and if you knew Dr. Ellison's testimony, that is a whole nother conversation. I 100% admire her for that, and how she tarried through her program. She knows that. But it is important to find your why. And so that's why I go back to purpose, because all throughout the Bible, if you just pay attention, there are prophets, there are servants, and they all serve a purpose. And we can go into specific examples, but I don't think we can do that in this conversation. I would love to, but I know we don't have time. But every person that God used in the Bible had a purpose. And once they knew their reason, then they knew the effort that was required. They knew what the passion they had to serve him and to carry out that purpose. So then it became intrinsic. And then there they are. So it comes full circle when you think about it. But at the end of the day, it is okay to only be intrinsically motivated. It is okay if you choose to be extrinsically motivated, and it's okay to also be both. So I don't want you to think you have to choose between. I'm just simply telling you, and Dr. Ellison is just simply telling you what our why was and our motivating factors. And working in HR and onboarding and hiring people on a regular basis, I always tell people, yes, we all want to make good money. Yes, we all want good benefits, but extrinsic factors will only motivate you for so long. When you get to those places where you're facing challenges, the money, the benefits, the perks, the car, et cetera, are only going to carry you for so long. I saw a post, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Ellison, but I saw a post that has resonated with me to this day. And it said, how do you know if you are in the right job? Not industry, not field, but the right job. Not because of the zeros on your paycheck, not because of the perks, not because you can get flown out and go to different countries, but it said, how do you feel on Sunday night? And to this day, that sticks with me, because if I am not intrinsically motivated and possess that natural passion for what I do, I will weep on Sundays. I wouldn't be able to get up on Monday and do my job. But because I take pride, in Dr. Ellison and I talk about doing things with the spirit of excellence at all times, which is what, when working with Be Professional, you will constantly see that we encourage. But we want to help elevate you. And because we are coming from an intrinsic place to want to see you grow, when you work with us, you will definitely see the difference in our approach to consulting and servicing you.
Very good points. And I do want to encourage you that motivation can change over your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're younger, you don't have that experience, or maybe you don't have mentors or adults in your life to kind of lead you and get you on the right path. Maybe you're not like me and you haven't had anybody to, speak the word of God over your life when they see you headed down the wrong direction. But motivation can change over your lifetime. I was inspired by being hungry, by being in a situation where I had to figure out how I was going to wash my clothes. And
Mm-hmm.
so, um, me believing that a degree, okay, well, when you achieve this, then you can sit back and relax. But then
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you get that, you see that there's another a milestone, and that's okay. But as you go on, you'll see that more internal fulfillment is needed. And haven't you ever noticed that seemingly the most beautiful people, I mean, they have the perfect bodies, their homes always seem immaculate on social media, or they seem to have all the followers or the cars, the wealth. It's like, oh, I'm trying to achieve that. They may have books or, whatever it is that we are seeking for ourselves. But then later or sometime later, you notice that these people have anxiety or they have depression or they're, you know, want to take the lives of others, or some of them even take their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's motivation that
Mm-hmm.
drives hope and optimism. And it's where that motivation comes from, because the applause and praise for others is not always going to be enough. And what happens when you lose everything you have and silver and gold can't buy? Are you still going to be motivated? Because whatever industry that we're in, whatever job it is that we're trying to acquire, all of them in some way, and this is by design, to serve others. And even if you're an introvert like myself and you just want to work on your computer by yourself, there's not a job that we can do on this earth that doesn't in some way serve somebody, even if you're just doing coding. Even leveraging technology is helping others be better at doing something using some type of technology. So there's not a job that we can hold that doesn't serve other people in some way. Dr. Burks.
You're absolutely right, actually. And I mean, I love the fact that you hit the nail on the head with, if you take all of these things away, what is your value? Can you continue to press forward when you don't have these titles? And I always like to say, I don't get hung up, which is why we are so pressed about making sure you understand we support from the janitor to the C suite, because ultimately we're not caught up in titles and notoriety. We look at you as a person. And so, with that, we expect you to execute the same level of servanthood that we have. And so, if you only feel important when you sit behind your desk in C suite, that when you walk outside, you lose your sense of self worth, then is it worth it? How do you feel about yourself? What keeps you going? And so, University of North Carolina, which I would definitely have to have Dr. Ellison link, but it talks about metacognitive strategies. And what these basically mean are things that you have to do to help maintain that motivation. So, okay, you know your reason, you know your why. Now, how do I keep myself motivated to continue to push forward? And so, examples of that is like, don't fear failing, because it may happen. That does not mean that you will fail indefinitely, but there's always a lesson. If you're teaching a child how to walk and they fall, that does not mean that you stop trying. You're not going to throw away the entire experience, but then you know that you need to redefine or pivot on how you are approaching it. Celebrate the milestones that you do reach. Any milestone is a plus, and you need to acknowledge yourself for that. that will also help keep you motivated and to push forward. Stop expecting perfection. Mine my journey won't look like your journey. That does not mean that mine is easier, and that does not mean that yours is more difficult. But perfection does not exist on this side of heaven. So don't put that pressure on yourself, because then you will become discouraged and you will lose motivation because you are expecting yourself to reach a goal that'll never be attainable. And then you have to choose what avenues that you will pursue to meet the goals and then maintain that motivation. You are going to have to be so intentional with holding yourself accountable. That motivation is yours, regardless of if it is internal or external, it's yours. So if you want to see the end goal of where that purpose is coming from, we know our why. We know why we did it. And because we know, and that's holistically, we knew what we had to do to stay focused and stay encouraged. So then my question for you is, now that you understand what motivation looks like, now you know the importance of putting in the effort. Um, what are you going to do to help continue to make sure you're pointed in the right direction? Those are conversations that you will have to have with yourself. And though there are people who can help give you advice, that is an intentional decision that you will have to make. And you have to figure out what works for you. And it is okay to go back to the drawing board. But for me, when my mind is set on something and I know what I'm being called to do, I am going to try my hardest to stay focused on it. Do I fail? Do I become discouraged? I would be lying to you if I said that I didn't, because I'm human. However, it does not matter if you are hungry, and if it is something that you want to go get, it will be attained. There's no other option. And that's how Dr. Ellison and I operate. And that's why we partner together so well, because we have the same moral and values. And like I said, we do things from a place of excellence. And so we wouldn't expect you to do anything less as well. Dr. Ellison.
And I'm glad you brought up the point of milestones. So I do want to make sure that I leave you with something. And that is for the leaders that are in the room and for you as an individual. And that is a skill called goal setting. And I know that we're in a new year and people like to talk about New Year's resolutions and all that stuff. Don't be fooled. Goal setting is a skill. It is a skill that builds your optimism competency. Goal setting is a skill that builds your optimism competency. Goal setting is a competency. This is for the leaders in the room and for the individual. And as I talked at the beginning about the difference between having physical sight and vision, goal setting allows you to begin with the end in mind and allowing you to stay motivated by pursuing regular action and monitoring your progress. And that's what makes the difference between sight and vision, because vision is actually visualizing what does the end look like? What does success for this goal look like? It is not enough to say, I want to lose weight. Be specific. I want to lose 5 pounds within the next 90 days. And here are the specific, measurable, and actionable steps that I need to take. And I'm using weight loss as an example, but this could be a workplace performance metric. This could be something that helps you in the workplace, leaders, to motivate your employees to achieve something that help you to accomplish a workplace mission, which framing problems is a part of goal setting. And in the military, we had something that was called Army Design Methodology. And it was a technique that was used to identify obstacles that make it difficult to achieve a desired goal. And this is part of the reason why people kind of lose their motivation, not just individually, but as a leader trying to keep our team motivated, or you're trying to keep your company of people motivated. Because what happens when you meet a bump in the road or an obstacle? and you don't know how to navigate around it, now I'm not motivated anymore. So this design methodology is a technique to say, this is where I am, this is where I'm trying to go. And you actually take out a piece of paper, or if you like to design stuff on your computer, I know where I am. I know where I'm trying to go. What are the possible obstacles that would make it difficult for me to achieve the desired end state? This could be a personal goal or a workplace goal. So, just using the example of losing weight, what are some obstacles? I have kids. I might not have time to get to the gym. You have to think of every possible obstacle that can keep you from getting from point A to point B, because don't think that in achieving your goals and building your optimism competency, that you're just going to walk a smooth road, that getting a college degree is not going to come without obstacles. Getting a job doing XYZ is not going to come without obstacles. Losing weight is not going to come without obstacles. Even sitting down and trying to figure out what your goals are, that is going to come with some obstacles. What are those things that is going to get in my way? I might get distracted. You have to figure out how you're going to navigate those obstacles for yourself. And as a leader, how do you motivate your team? And how do you help them navigate those obstacles so that you can accomplish the mission? That's what keeps us optimistic, is that we're, as Dr. Burke said, meeting those milestones along the way to the end state, which is the vision. Vision is what keeps us motivated. So as we talk about motivation, what's motivating you? And you can't tell me it's watching other people sleep, watching other people play games. We don't have money for gas and eggs. We're looking to our political leaders to solve our economic issues, but we have money to watch other people sit there and breathe. Dr. Burks.
Let me fix myself for a second so I can make this make sense in a couple of words. You have had a chance to listen to our understanding, and hopefully you walk away from this conversation with a greater understanding of the multiple aspects of motivation. And if I can leave you with something that puts everything we said into perspective, if you are hungry enough, you will always make sure that you eat. And if you starve, it's because you weren't hungry enough. And I can assure you, I will always find a way to eat. Dr. Ellison will not miss a meal. If you desire to accomplish anything, whatever is motivating you, you have to put in work, you have to put in effort. If you have something set in your mind, if you want to get a new car, you are going to position yourself accordingly so you can go get that vehicle. It may take longer. There are so many different factors to take into consideration. However, if it is something that you want, you will make sure that you take the actionable steps that it takes, that so that when you go to that dealership, you won't hear no. If you choose not to make the effort, then you will never see the fruit of your lack of effort, your lack of labor. So you own it. At the end of the day, it's yours. It's your baby. It is your responsibility. It is your dependent. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do about it? So Dr. Ellison and I planted the seed. It is your job to make sure you continue to water it so that you can see it grow. Dr. Ellison, do you have any final words for the people?
Keep running according to your cadence. You are empowered, and stay motivated.
Stay motivated, and most importantly, stay safe, and also be professional. Bye.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my